7 years ago, I spent my days and nights behind the wheel of a battered old taxi, trapped in an endless cycle of debt and despair. My marriage was falling apart, my son barely knew me, and every day felt like a battle I was losing. But one conversation, one spark of inspiration, changed everything. Today, I own a multi-million-dollar business. Here's my journey from being a struggling cab driver to living my dreams. When you're stuck in survival mode, dreaming feels like a luxury you can't afford. That was my life. I was 38, married, and a father to a 10-year-old boy, Liam, who deserved so much more than I could give him. Every day I woke up before dawn, stiff from sleeping on a lumpy mattress in our cramped apartment. The wallpaper was peeling, the heating barely worked, and the leaky faucet was a constant reminder of everything I couldn't fix. My job as a taxi driver was relentless. I spent up to 16 hours a day navigating the chaotic streets of the city, chasing fares that barely covered gas, rent, and groceries. Some days I didn't even make enough to break even. At home, things weren't any better. Sophia, my wife, had grown distant. We barely spoke anymore, except to argue about money or my absence. She tried to shield Liam from the tension, but he wasn't a little kid anymore. He could see the cracks. Once, Liam asked me, "Dad, are we poor?" The question cut deeper than any insult ever could. I didn't know how to answer. We weren't just poor. We were drowning, and I didn't have the strength to save us. I felt like a failure, not just to myself, but to the two people who mattered most. My dream of building a better life seemed so far away, it might as well have been on another planet. It happened on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. I had picked up a passenger from the airport, a man in his mid-40s, dressed in an expensive suit carrying a leather briefcase that probably cost more than my monthly rent. As we inched through the city's infamous traffic, he started making small talk. I wasn't in the mood, but politeness was part of the job. He asked me how long I'd been driving taxis, and when I told him, he looked at me with genuine curiosity and said, "So, what's the end game?" "The end game?" I repeated, confused. "Yeah, what's the plan after this?" The question hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't have a plan. Driving a taxi wasn't supposed to be my life. It was supposed to be a temporary solution until I found something better. But the years had slipped away, and I hadn't even realized it. That night, I couldn't sleep. His words echoed in my mind, a relentless reminder of how lost I was. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at a blank piece of paper, trying to answer his question. What was my end game? The realization that I needed to change wasn't sudden. It was a slow, agonizing process. For weeks, I wrestled with self-doubt. Could someone like me, broke, uneducated, with no connections, ever hope for something better? One evening, Sophia sat across from me and said, "You need to decide, or this is all we'll ever have. I can't keep doing this. Liam deserves better." Her words were a wake-up call. I couldn't let my family fall apart. I had to find a way out. I started researching ways to earn extra income during breaks between shifts. I read articles, watched videos, and listened to podcasts, desperate for inspiration. One day, I came across a story about a man who started his own delivery business with just a bicycle and a dream. Something clicked. I knew the city like the back of my hand. I was reliable, hardworking, and willing to put in the hours. Maybe, just maybe, I could turn those skills into something more. Starting wasn't easy. I saved every spare dollar I could, cutting corners wherever possible. I stopped eating out, canceled every non-essential subscription, and worked even longer hours to scrape together the money to buy an old van. My first job was delivering baked goods for a local bakery. The pay was laughable, but it was a start. I juggled this new side hustle with my taxi driving, working nearly 20-hour days. There were moments when I wanted to give up. Once, the van broke down in the middle of a delivery. I had to carry the boxes of bread on foot through pouring rain, my shoes squelching with every step. By the time I got home, I was soaked, exhausted, and furious at the universe. Sophia begged me to slow down, worried that I was pushing myself too hard. But I couldn't stop. The fear of failure was a fire that kept me going. The breakthrough came a year later when I got a call from a local startup. They needed a reliable delivery service for their products, and someone had recommended me. The job was worth more than I made in a month as a taxi driver. I poured everything into that contract, working tirelessly to exceed their expectations. Word spread, and soon I had more clients than I could handle. It was time to take a leap of faith. I left taxi driving behind and focused solely on growing my business. Over the next few years, my small delivery service transformed into a full-fledged logistics company. I reinvested every dollar into expanding the business, hiring drivers, upgrading vehicles, and developing a mobile app to streamline operations. The app was a game changer. It allowed clients to track their deliveries in real time and schedule pickups with just a few clicks. By the time I turned 45, my company was valued at over $5 million. Today, my life is unrecognizable from where it was 7 years ago. We live in a beautiful home, free from the constant stress of bills and debt. Liam is now in college, studying business, and Sophia and I have rebuilt our relationship stronger than ever. But what means the most to me is knowing that I've set an example for my son. I've shown him that no matter how dire the circumstances, it's possible to rise above them with hard work, determination, and a little bit of faith. If you're feeling stuck, if you think life has nothing more to offer, remember my story. I was just a taxi driver with no prospects and no hope. But I dared to dream, and I worked until that dream became a reality. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. See you in the next video.